This week's edition of TEChBrits, we're going to be talking about Windows 8. Is it an unrivaled ecosystem? We're also going to be discussing the new Xbox music prices, and we're going to be talking about Felix Baumgartner. All this and more coming up on this week's TEChBrits.
Hello and welcome to TEChBrits. So I broke no records on that attempt. All I've ended up with is a bloody hurting arm.
Yeah, well, you serves you right trying to beat his record from what I can only call a step.
Oh, yeah, alright.
Alright, well, what we're referring to, of course, if you missed out on the massive news on Sunday, Felix Baumgartner basically skydived
From the stratosphere.
outer space.
Yeah, it's an insane attempt. Now, I mean, he's wanted to do this since he was younger. I seen a picture that he drew when I think he was only about sort of 8, 9, something like that. Of, I mean, you could clearly see it was a kid drawing of just sort of a picture of himself, sort of with a parachute coming out of him, just landing towards the ground. And it's been spread around the internet quite a lot as being that, like, if you have a dream, then follow it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
you can make it possible.
128 feet. No,
1,000 feet. I think I went from 128 feet.
He broke through the sound barrier. Now he broke a few records. Now you don't know.
No, I mean I know he broke the speed of sound.
He broke the speed of sound, 833.9 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
He has the record for the highest jump ever attempted of 128.
Yeah, because I know that the previous guy who held the record was the one on the ground speaking to him, wasn't it? And I was saying, like, if I was that guy on the ground, I would have like got to, just as he was about to beat his record and been like, okay, now you've got to jump.
He has the record for the longest freefall. Not the fast, he has the record for the longest distance, but not the longest time.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
Because he went so quick. But the important one, the reason I wanted to really mention on the show, is he now also beat the record for the largest live stream on YouTube.
Oh,
8 million people tuned into the Red Bull stream on YouTube on Sunday. 8 million. It took YouTube down. It actually took the site down.
I know, it's incredible.
And just the whole thing just generally shows how, without the internet, some of us wouldn't even found out about this. I was following the Twitter stream the entire way through the jump, my timeline, trending topics, the lot. And there were jokes flying around.
Yeah.
There were there was people at one point, just as he jumped, the whole Twitter just stopped moving.
Yeah, I know you said that. It was just one of those moments where you just know pretty much everyone around the world just stopped and stared.
Yeah, everyone watched it.
Luckily, it's for a good reason.
Yeah, but oh my god, he started spinning halfway down. You haven't actually seen the jump,
No,
but
I missed
just
it.
before the jump, the BBC, I was watching on BBC, the news reporters basically said if he starts spinning, he could lose blood to his brain and knock himself out.
And so they never actually knew beforehand what going the speed of sound could actually do to the body.
Yeah.
And that's what was sort of worrying a lot of people.
Yeah. But he landed on his feet!
Landed on his feet! Isn't it, from the edge of space. So you imagine, like, up there, you're just going to be looking up above you and just all you're seeing is blackness and space.
Exactly. And then when he lands, it's sunny because he landed in New Mexico at like 3 in the afternoon. But no, congratulations, Felix, from us here at TEChBrits. Obviously, if you see this, congratulations. If you don't, someone who is watching, pass it on to him.
Okay, so that's just a little off-topic start. It's sort of sciencey, but maybe not into the tech kind of side of things.
No, let's get back into what we're good at.
Let's get back into our forte, and that's tech discussions. So kicking off this week is Boxee TV. Now, the Boxee box was a device that was amazing.
Sunk into the ground.
Yeah, especially the design of it. Like you said, the way it sort of looks like a sunken box and sort of all the apps that came with it. But now they've just gone into a little kind of dongle, which, as they're saying, connects to input 1. Now, like, input 1 is usually reserved for your sort of cable TV, and like all the add-ons, like Boxee Box did, and Apple TV and Google TV, they all tend to go in. Sorry, not Google TV. Like Xboxes, they'll all go into input 2. They're like the HDMI inputs, and they're just like extenders of TV instead of trying to take over TV.
Yeah.
So what this does is, like I said, there's only a tiny little dongle that connects into your cable, but it will allow unlimited recording to the cloud.
Okay, Okay, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. It has a dual antenna, so you can start recording one program and watch another. But
also pretty cool.
Yeah, what's also pretty cool about those, you can start recording, and as you're recording that, you can take your mobile, carry on off outside, and watch pretty much live what you're recording to the cloud wherever you are.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, no, I can see that the fact that they say it connects to input 1 confuses me, because that seems like a very input 2 thing. As much as it connects to, you still have to have like a cable box to sort of, and a Freeview to really use this.
Well, you don't have to. It does have apps like Netflix and sort of Hulu in the US and Spotify and stuff as well. But
what I mean is, like, to sort of replace TV how we know it, you need to still have a cable box, so it would kind of, to me, seem more
your
like
cable box still connects into it.
So it connects into the cable box?
Yeah, it's like a midway.
Right, so it's
the
more of an
box.
input 1.5.
Yeah, that's why. And like the quote that
kind of
said,
like the Google TV in a way.
Yeah, it is pretty much like the Google TV.
That makes a little more sense.
And the way that they quoted it is that this service is kind of disruptive, but not destructive to the TV industry. So it's likely to be well embraced by cable companies.
Yeah.
It's more of an extender rather than a replacement.
I mean, I reckon it's going to make piracy quite easy, because things are already going to be in the cloud, and you just kind of take them, But no, I definitely think it's a good thing. I mean, most things that plug into TVs nowadays are good things. Anything that kind of improves the TV watching experience is a good thing. As long as it doesn't really, I don't know, as long as it doesn't force anything down your throat, kind of like.
I mean, I still think that TV is something that's really sort of untapped at the moment. I still don't think that its real sort of potential has been fully tapped yet, and there's so many services kicking around at the moment. And
I think something where you can just sort of watch TV and go, hang on, what's that in the background? And then it kind of identifies it. That would be quite cool to sort of have. As a general thing. I mean, I think that's the thing that a lot of people want, and a lot of companies now are actually kind of doing, but not the way that makes it super easy, but kind of going, hey, if you've just watched the latest episode of this, that dress that so-and-so is wearing in this scene, you can buy it here. Some companies are actually doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Amazon is a prime example of that, like what they're doing with Kindle Fire. They basically, when you start playing, and this is like reserved to movies and TV shows at the moment, you can like tap on someone's face and see like details about what other films and stuff they've been in. So it adds that sort of interactivity sort of layer to the your watching experience.
I definitely think TV as it is with ads and sort of the way it's made and the way it's broadcast, I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. The sort of through the cable you get standard timeline of things. The whole catch-up thing may bleed over onto sort of very on-demand things, so you can watch something on demand before it airs. In a way, I think that might happen at some point. Sort of everything will be released on demand, as opposed to everything will be released on a time schedule. Will happen at some point.
Yeah, I was going to say web content. I think is definitely taking over in the next couple of years. I think sort of your standard broadcast TV is definitely on its way out.
I wouldn't say it's on its way out. I mean, I'd still give it another 10 years at least.
I wouldn't say that long, especially since as we've got a story a bit later on coming up about one of the biggest shows first broadcast on an on-demand service first before going on terrestrial TV.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll save that for in a minute. Now, you probably guess that this article is going to be in here. Microsoft Surface has released its pricing for the RT version of the tablet.
That's the tablet version.
Yeah,
That's the sort of base model version.
Yeah, this is the ARM-based version. This is the one that's like a competitor to the iPad. Now, so let's just compare between the two. So the 32GB version will cost you $499. I'm not going to go into UK pricing because we never know.
Oh, actually, no. The UK pricing has been announced, so you keep talking. I'll get the UK pricing up.
Okay, and the iPad version is 16GB for $499. So essentially, I think that's quite a good pricing scale because it makes it look premium, so it's not like cheap. It's not like a cheap pricing, but at the same time it makes it look more attractive than the iPad just due to that size bump you're getting for the same price.
Yeah, no, I mean, the screen's slightly smaller, isn't it?
It's not smaller, it's a lower resolution. which I think might be put off. Now, I do have my concerns about the Surface RT, and that's mainly because of I'm not quite sure of its necessary target, because of to the average consumer, like I'm just thinking sort of how I'd sell it to someone. It's like, though the actual system itself is better, being able to open sort of 2 apps and stuff at once, for the general consumer it's not that great. Like, I can say to them that it's got all these apps, and all they'll say to me is like, yeah, but we've got apps, and like, where's your Shadow Gun, where's your Nova, where's all your sort of more gaming kind of stuff? And at the moment that's not really there.
I think that's if you're talking to someone who's got an iPad or a Nexus or something, or a tablet already. If you're talking to someone who doesn't have a tablet,
I still can't recommend it to them though. Like I said, because of that's talking about a general consumer. Like, I know that they'd probably want to play sort of games and that, because of their general consumer, they want...
Oh, the fact that Windows 8 doesn't have many sort of Metro games.
Yeah, yet. Like, they are coming, but yeah, at the moment.
It's not on the upkeep, it's not even out yet, so, you know, you can... It's coming out soon. Yeah.
I mean, I know that this will improve over time, but I mean, that's probably going to take sort of, like, a good year or so before we're going to see, like, really great games coming out.
I mean, I got the UK pricings up. The UK pricing is $399 and $559 for the 64 gig with a touch cover.
Yeah. So going back to the sort of target, then the only other person that I think that you could really sort of attract it to is a business user, because it's a lot more productive than iPad, being able to open up 2 apps at once, side by side, being able to sort of watch a video or write an article, and the touch covers you can sort of flip down, the sort of back flips out like a kickstand, so it basically turns into essentially like a desktop on the move. But at the same time, with Windows 8 Pro coming, with Surface Pro coming around the corner, which is a full Intel-based version, which is going to run all your desktop apps, your desktop games, I couldn't recommend it for a business user either.
You see, it's weird because I could kind of recommend it to students, the RT version. Yeah. Students who, as much as they want to play their games and want to do the whole productivity of having like a browser on the right while having, you know, your word processor on the left, your dual app thing, I would find that incredibly useful.
Yes, which is a weird thing, like hearing you say now, because going back to some episodes, you said that you didn't see the point in that.
I didn't see the point, but when you think about the demographics of what, because like gamers and kind of people who want to play games, so people who want to play sort of FIFA, they don't want like Twitter just on the side. That's what I kind of meant by I don't really see the point, because that's how my mentality was sort of at the time. But when you think about it, why would you want Twitter up when you're trying to play FIFA? You know, you're playing FIFA. That's my whole sort of. I am concentrating.
Streaming in the background, then
I definitely wouldn't want to. If I'm playing a game and I kind of glance over at Twitter and then I shut it,
like just pause it, look over at Twitter, see what's going on, go back.
But why are you pausing? You don't pause games.
No, but like it's just an enhancement on things.
I suppose. But like when you think about it from like a student perspective or a business perspective, where sort of I'm not that demographic. I'm neither a student nor a businessman. When you think about it from there, you can kind of understand sort of having a website up while having your research notes on the right, or having sort of Twitter up while you're, you know, having Facebook up to compare conversations or something like that. You can I can see a market, but it is, as far as I go, a niche-ish market for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think its pricing looks a bit more attractive, and I think that might help it. But I still think, for the most, I think Surface Pro is gonna sort of just take. I mean,
we will see once everything.
So Surface Pro, that's an easy sell for me to sell to anyone. Like, if someone showed me their iPad and I've got my Surface Pro,
right?
They can be like, well, we've got apps, and I can be like, yeah, but can yours turn into a desktop?
I'm still gonna stick with my argument of yours turning into a desktop. You've got your desktop UI, but to really turn it into a desktop, in my opinion, you need to attach it to a keyboard and mouse, and then
you've already got the keyboard on the cover. You've got
I suppose
you've got the type pad.
Yeah, you get the bridge. One more thing I wanted to bring up quickly before we moved on was the advert that they've recently released. The movement advert, I think it's called. I really like that advert.
Yeah, it's a cool advert.
It's kind of like it's a dance mixed with sort of the kickstand moving and everything. It's a really classy advert. I will play a little bit for you here, and while we're talking. And but no, if you want to have a look at the full thing, it will be in the description.
Yeah. So let's carry on talking about Windows 8. Now the problem is, like I was saying with Windows RT, is that at launch, like there's not going. Well, there is actually already quite a lot of apps. I think it's about 200,000 at the moment, and like again, a lot of the ones that you want are sort of already there.
Yeah.
And again, I reckon they look beautiful.
I'm really interested in what you've got to say here, because, and I want to sort of peel back the show covers for the audience a second, and basically say, in the notes here, you've got unrivaled ecosystem. You tweeted out a couple of days ago, unrivaled ecosystem, and I kind of read that tweet and I thought, what is he on about?
Yeah.
So I'm really curious as to what you got to say here.
Yeah. See, this is where, again, I also thought Microsoft has been asleep for a long time because they've not had any real ecosystem. Like, pretty much every product has been very segregated and left to third parties, and yeah, it's been a mess. But the way that Windows 8 is built, now that you can move from desktop to tablet to a phone, is great. And like, because Windows Phone 8 now shares the same kernel as Windows 8, that means that porting App Server is pretty much just a case of changing the resolution. So now pretty much you can buy apps and games on the Microsoft Store on your PC, move them either to your Windows Phone, you can move to your Windows tablet. Right. So that ecosystem is unparalleled. Like, you can't use Mac apps on iOS, whereas you can use Windows 8 apps on Windows Phone 8.
The Apple event has been announced for October 23rd. Their invite basically says, we have a little bit more to show you.
So that sounds to me like there's a little bit of a bigger screen, but not quite as big as the full iPad. Yeah, so
it's a little.
It depends on which way you look at it.
Yeah.
Either way, the iPad Mini.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It's coming. There have been loads of leaks of product inventories in shops and stuff. It's coming. I don't know how these leaks keep getting out so easily.
It's weird. Like I know obviously they're like the most watched company on earth, but there seems to be some real sort of security issues at Apple at the moment.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm worried about with the iPad Mini is, like, I'm actually worried whether sales will meet expectations. I mean, like it's Apple, they usually do, but I don't know. Like, it seems a weird thing for me because I wouldn't even really consider it, I don't think. Like, what I'm saying is, if you've already got an iPhone and you've already got a full-size iPad, whether you really need a third device that's just a bit smaller but it's the same OS and you're going to be still paying
Here's the thing
that
price. I kind of got a little confused about the iPad Mini is, where is it going to fit in the whole ecosystem, like you said? Because what I think they might do something completely different with it. Not so get rid of iOS, not sort of that drastic. But what I mean is, if you look at the iPod Nano, that's got a completely different UI that no one's ever seen before. Every time they relaunch it, with the first one, you had the scroll across. You had the 4 tiles, and then you had the scroll across tiles, which was very iOS looking, but it wasn't iOS. And now on the iPod Nano, you've got the circular buttons.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't know whether they're going to do something similar with this iPad Mini, because you've got the tablet, you've got the phone. With the Mini, where they want to put it, what will they want to do with it?
Because it is just pretty much, there definitely has to be a kind of one more thing, something great about this device. There has to be something that stand out.
Yeah, because if it is just an iPad but smaller,
it's going to be another boring event.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But if it is an iPad smaller, it's still got the same home button, sort of sleep weight button with the camera, sort of form factor, but smaller, but the UI is different. I reckon not only will that be different and something else to sort of have, but it will get people excited about iOS again, because they made
that's what I'm wanting. Like, when they say we've got a little bit more to show you, that makes me there's that little spark of excitement and a little bit of hope for me back in that. But this is truly the last time, Apple. I know that you don't care about me. I've got enough comments about that before. I know you don't care what I think, but truly, like, you've got one more chance with me.
Okay. Whew. Well, they're also possibly going to be revealing the MacBook 13-inch in Retina, which I think is quite exciting, mainly because I'm surprised they didn't do that already.
And I must admit that, again, I've said this before, the Retina MacBook Pro is wow. It's
Retina.
Like,
you
sound like Yoda then. It's Retina.
Retina is. GIF image.
Oh, another one.
And then finally a teardrop iMac.
Yeah, they are rumoured to be launching a new iMac again. I believe it's well overdue. There's been rumours of a new iMac for a long time, but yeah, it's supposed to have a new teardrop kind of design, whatever that means.
Exciting stuff. Now back into your court.
Yeah.
With the Nexus phone.
I know. I'm a little bit worried about this because of Google's Android Nexus program. That's pretty much like their way of saying that this is the flagship device for Android. But it looks like they're coming out with a range of Nexus phones now, which could get a bit confusing for consumers.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw this.
Yeah. So the couple that have been leaked and the ones that I'm talking about is the LG Nexus 4 and the Sony Nexus X. Now, both devices look good, but yeah, when you're looking for sort of the flagship Android device each year...
Hey, can I get the Google Nexus? It's like, which one?
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. When I saw this, I kind of went, uh-oh. Google is sort of making the mistakes they used to make. Because the whole point of I really like the Nexus that's out at the moment. But it's not sort of up to spec now for me to go out and buy it. Yeah. But the fact that it was just the one device, that's what I like. The one device, untouched by Google, untouched by anyone else. It's Google. There was, no real choice in the matter. It was sort of this phone or some other phone.
And you know you're going to get the updates basically on time.
Exactly, but the fact that they've got a range, you kind of got to go, oh, that one's got a better camera, but that one's got a faster processor, but that one's... And then you're now back in the whole, oh, that one's got HTC UI, that one's got Sense UI.
Yeah, which is...
That was a TouchWiz, is what I was going to say.
See, I was really happy when Google announced the Nexus program because of... it made Google look not evil. Again, they'll still allow Google on any phone, on any manufacturer that wanted it. But there was sort of the one flagship phone that was like, Google was like, this is the best phone at the moment. Have this phone if you want it. And it's kind of like what people like about Apple is that it's the one iPhone each year that, they know that they're getting the best each year. Yeah. And I reckon it's just getting confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going to move over to a Kickstarter segment.
Yes, this is a little segment because I just had my first Kickstarter product.
Woohoo!
Okay, so what we're looking at here is, again, my very first product arrived from Kickstarter, and I funded this a while back. This is the WOXOM, I hope I pronounced that right, Slingshot. Now, the reason it's called a slingshot is because, one, it looks like a slingshot, and you can sling your phone into it. This doesn't have to be an iPhone, this can be any phone, it's quite adaptable. And you can stabilise your phone while you're recording. Now this is brilliant for stabilising because of, especially you iPhone users, you don't have optical image stabilisation like you do on the Flayvr 920. You have to make do with digital. So that's only good to some extent. Now, the other great thing about this is, of course, you have an extra added little feature. You can pinch in here and bring out a little tripod for you. So, you can view your videos back. And this also unscrews.
Ooh.
And you have a standard tripod.
That's quite nice. Yeah. It's a very nice little touch. So it's kind of like a glyph at the same time.
Yep, exactly. So that's the WOXOM Slingshot.
Excellent. No, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I reckon it's really useful. And for a first product coming through here in the UK from a Kickstarter, I'm pretty pleased with it.
No, I'm not surprised.
So let's talk about another Kickstarter project, which I don't have yet because it's not funded yet, but you can help out if you want. It's called the iExpander. Now this is for you iPhone 5 people who wanted a bit more from your device. So whether you wanted an expandable SD card in there as well to expand the memory, whether you wanted a better flash and battery life with it as well, and of course if you wanted your 30-pin dock back as well.
That's pretty cool. So it is essentially making it almost like fixing everything that Apple didn't put in.
Yeah. So again, if you want these things, then you can expand your device with the iExpander.
Excellent stuff.
They should take that as the slogan.
Yeah. Moving on to the news. We've had a few layout changes. We're a big fan of these. Not particularly. But first of all, YouTube has had a big remodel. It's not quite rolled out to everyone yet, so if you're not seeing it just yet, you will know when you see it. But if you're not seeing it just yet, it is coming. But it's very plain. It's a very plain UI. It looks more Google Plus-y, with sort of all your subscriptions on the left. It's still very buggy and missing a lot of features. For example, on the home screen, at the moment, you can click on Uploads Only, show everything, and that is your subscriptions. These are all the new videos that are coming out.
Yeah.
With the new UI, you have to manually... You've got uploads, you've got likes, you've got comments, and you have to manually, for each channel, say that you don't want to see this activity.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm sure they're bringing back the Uploads Only thing, but it's a really, really horrible sort of forcing upon you, sort of.
Yeah, it would be nice to have the sort of option between these things.
And of course, Google Plus is now rolling out a lot more into YouTube. Obviously, you have your real name type thing.
Yeah.
And they're now actually putting Google Plus notifications in YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. So it has a much wider broadcast of Google Plus.
Yeah.
Another site which has had a complete new layout change is Foursquare. Now, this does actually look really, really nice. Now, obviously, Foursquare has been collecting all your data, all your tips, where's the best places to go, and it's like the de facto place to go whenever you want to go out anywhere and just want to find like a brand new restaurant or a brand new bar to go to. You can go on there, you can hit explore, and you can instantly be recommended like the best place. Now, the new layout on the web looks kind of like a search engine, and like you're gonna have to check it out for yourself, but it has sort of the explore sections, and it basically Yelp, you're buggered.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
Because I still go to Yelp.
Yeah, you
because Foursquare to me as the name, Foursquare still says to me as a name, the check-in badge service. That is still what I associate Foursquare with.
Yeah, no, it's evolved.
I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has. Now let's move on to something I think you'll be quite excited about. Xbox Music is launching today.
Yep.
Which is going to officially kill the Zune name. Zune is gone.
Yeah.
But one interesting... so Xbox Music, if you don't know, I don't know why I'm talking about it. Please tell us about Xbox Music.
It's essentially a streaming service, a music streaming service, which works across all Windows and Xbox devices. You can use this on your Xbox, you can use this on your Windows 8, you can use this on your Windows tablet.
And your Windows Phone coming soon.
And your Windows Phone. And actually, it will have iOS and Android apps as well.
Ooh, exciting.
And yeah, it's essentially like a Spotify unlimited music service. And this, I mean, I used it when it was under the Zune Music moniker. And on the Xbox, the UI is like the best I've seen like anywhere. It's beautiful. But yeah, this is just another part of the ecosystem I was talking about Windows 8 that they've clearly been building on. That now you've got a music service that's modern, it's new, and can be used anywhere on any of your devices.
Yeah, that one makes sense to work on any device.
See, I would like to see sort of iTunes go into some unlimited music streaming.
Well, I think they are. I think it's in there.
I was going to say, because they're again, you're looking behind Apple. To be honest, you are letting the competition completely run over you. Like downloads are heading out.
Yeah. I mean, I need a reasonably priced unlimited streaming service.
I think $9.99. Like the problem is it looks expensive at the outlook, but once you start using it every single day of your life and you're just constantly discovering new music.
Yeah, because my problem at the moment is I listen to 22 songs on loop.
Yeah.
I could delete every song on my iPod and just have 22 songs, which I just listen to. Because every time I download a song, I put it in a new folder. And that new folder kind of updates itself, but doesn't update itself, so it keeps my music. So I've almost started my library again.
Yeah.
And I've only got to 22 at the moment. So I'm kind of listening to new music that I've discovered by my means, and then kind of ignore anything from before. I still enjoy things from before. I do listen to it occasionally.
Yeah. So you just go over just the pricing model and stuff works. So if I can find something, I have something to say.
Okay, so first of all, the US is getting a 30-day Music Pass trial, or a 14-day pass trial, which I wasn't sure quite what that meant myself.
Was it first day pass trial?
It's a 30-day Music Pass trial or a 14-day pass trial. Which didn't make sense to me. Like, you clearly choose 30 days.
Yeah, I think there's like a certain tier where you can like, I think like there is on Spotify where you can listen so many times to a track, and then there's like another one where it's actually called Music Pass, where you have unlimited, I think.
Yeah, which still
models.
doesn't make sense as to why you wouldn't just pick the 30-day Music Pass, as opposed to the 14-day pass.
Yeah.
But anyway, the more important numbers are the 1 month Music Pass is going to be $9.99 US, or the 12-month, the best value, is $99.90. Now the UK is getting shivved again. They've got no trials available.
That's ridiculous.
1 month is $8.99, which is definitely not the $9.99 exchange, and 12-month is $89.90, which is definitely not the $99.90 exchange.
Yeah, I hate any company that shivs us in the UK.
There's most companies that shiv us in the UK.
Yeah, to be honest.
You found the thing?
No, I haven't. So I'll just carry on.
Never mind.
Talk about the PlayStation Store. Now,
Ooh.
PlayStation, like, they're not my favourite brand. Just because they never update anything. PlayStation has had the cross-media bar for donkey's years, as long as I can remember. Since the PSP. It's never had many real sort of updates. Like, they never sort of expand. Like, they've got sort of the main services on there. But Xbox, they've had like complete dashboard changes about 6 times now.
You had Blades, which went to essentially Metro.
Yeah.
That's sort of the direct.
Yeah, I was going to say, it literally has, I think they've had like at least 5 different dashboard changes since. And like the entertainment services that you get on Xbox, I mean, I'd not even heard of half of them before. It's actually incredible. And yeah, but PlayStation have actually at least finally had a complete store redesign, which should actually be launching today when this episode goes up.
Awesome.
Yeah, which that's quite good.
Cool. Now, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier with TV and sort of broadcast media. Is it on its way out? Because Netflix is getting an exclusive burst.
Yeah. And I'm talking about my favourite show at the moment, and that's Breaking Bad. Now, Breaking Bad is probably like, well, it is the #1 show like worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're actually getting it first. The series finale starts on November 1st, and we're getting it before the US, even like before the US on demand.
Because of time zones, I assume. They'll probably release it at midnight.
I don't know. Just
they'll probably release it at midnight in the UK. I don't think it's gonna be like a week.
No, I think it is. I think it is literally supposed to be like a couple of weeks exclusive to the UK first. Like, I don't know why. Like, that never happens. We usually have to wait months. But I have noticed this actually, because we always talk about like how we hate that we can't get certain content in the UK and we have to wait ages for it. So then you do end up pirating it. Yeah. The gap has been seriously closing lately. Like, I was excited about a couple of TV shows coming up. I was excited about what was it, Arrow, and a show called Revolution. Mm-hmm. And both of those are coming out like a couple of weeks after they broadcast in the US. Yeah, no, they are. The gap is closing. The gap has not closed. Mm. Once the gap closes, that's when I will put my hands up and admit defeat. Mm. The fact that there is still a gap is a problem because of the way the internet kind of works. Yeah, I was going to say, because I'm still very tempted. Like, it's still like... Well, it's not just temptation. It's the fact that if you're just reading Twitter, you know, you're following people from America, it's like, oh! Yeah, that's what such and such. You feel like you're missing the buzz. You feel like you're behind. Because I like to... That's what I love about Twitter, is that you feel like you're constantly on the cutting edge. Don't you? You feel like you're constantly up to date. When everyone else, like you said, is like talking about Arrow and that, and I'm like, I got to wait 2 weeks. I want to see that episode at the same time and start chatting to people about it. So once the gap closes, then I think they've got it right. But until then, I'm going to stick with what I think, no matter how small the gap is. If it's a day, you know, it's not enough. I was going to say, it has to be at that time when you want to join in on the cutting edge. Yeah, but there is a problem with that, which is time zones. But I think that can always be rectified. Some magical way. Well, no, just stay up if you want to watch it. True. Moving on. This is your story, isn't it? It is! Sorry! We're so used to you talking. I'm still trying to find that fact from earlier. Starbucks in the US launched Passbook a few weeks ago. They have their car in the US. It has finally launched in the UK. Today, in fact. So you can, if you are a Starbucks drinker, download the app
and add it to your Passbook. I don't drink at Starbucks all that often, but I still did it anyway, because now I have more things in my Passbook. I like having things in my Passbook because it makes it look full. You found it?
No, but talking about Xbox Live Dash changes, the brand new update comes out today. Or yesterday, when this episode comes out. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're moving on to apps.
Okay, sorry, getting distracted. So I got one to show you called Flayvr. Now, this is the app just here.
When you showed me this, before we go into the review, when you showed me this, I understood exactly why you loved it.
So I thought you might. I like literally, I thought that like as soon as I seen this app, I was like, this could be one that George likes, which is weird because
I knew why you liked it.
Oh, right.
Immediately.
Then you're probably gonna think of the same thing as I'm about to say. Okay, so the app we're looking at, as you see, it's called Flayvr. Now, Flayvr, I believe this is what George was talking about earlier, follows a kind of squarish metro styling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, essentially what this app does is just organise all your photos in a much nicer kind of view. So you don't have to scroll through that grid of icons. You can just instantly organise it, as you say, into these dates. So you've got like last Saturday, last Tuesday. So
no, it does look very nice. And the thing is, what I find interesting about this is the fact that this is what I want Metro to look like. It is still confined to the screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, as you can see, you've got your videos which play at the same time.
No, that's very nice.
Yeah, it's truly.
But the fact that it is confined to the sort of 3.5 inch, and it hasn't, like, Flayvr is a title in the middle. This would be, if this was what Windows Phone looked like, I'd totally jump on it.
Well, I would argue that it pretty much does.
Well, it doesn't, because, for example, like on Windows Phone, this here would be halfway across the screen, making its big extended sort of screen. If that makes sense.
I see what you mean.
The fact that this is all centralized and sort of doesn't.
Apps don't have to be built like that, but yeah, it's a very nice way.
It is quite nice.
Collecting your photos together and viewing them. And as I was just showing you there, you don't have to have. You can share across all your social networks, and they don't actually have to have Flayvr as well, which is a quite nice touch, and especially for expanding a user base of an app like this.
Cool. Well, I mean, if you can share videos to YouTube, I'll be happy.
Right, that's Flayvr.
Yeah, no, I can see why you like that.
Yeah, I thought you might. Right, so the
next, yes. Finally, last but not least, Crazy Taxi, the original game, is coming to iOS.
Yeah,
a lot of retro games are coming to iOS recently. We've had Max Payne, we've had GTA 3, we've had the original Sonics, and now Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, that's a hell of a way to wrap up the episode.
Exactly.
Right, so you can email us in the usual places. You can email us at techbrits@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at gadget_right.
Or at George Sim, or at TEChBrits.
Yeah.
And of course, we actually want to start a new thing really quickly, which is if you find an interesting story throughout the week and you want us to talk about it on the show, hashtag it with TEChBrits30, which will be next week, so 1 week in advance. And we'll be following that hashtag, and we'll sort of take anything that we find interesting and put it in the show.
Yeah, and of course, if you're talking about anything in this episode, then hashtag TEChBrits29.
Excellent.
So again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
It's about there.
Yep, somewhere around there. And hopefully see you next week.
Ciao.